Okay, Councillor Pearson, we're in witnesses now. Second, the other member of the public, yeah. Okay. Right, are you happy to start, Councillor Pearson?
Yeah, that's fine. Item 1, apologies for absence.
Somebody has a child, I think. Somebody has a child there. We'll just ask everyone just to go on mute, please, unless you wish to speak. That would be great. That would be very helpful. I've had no apologies for absence this evening. So any members not present?
I had an apology from Councillor Turner. I think she's unwell.
I haven't had anything directly. I'm aware of those circumstances. If we wish to record that.
Can I propose that it's accepted that she's unwell?
I second that, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. Other absences will be recorded as unapproved. Item 2 is declarations of interest. Do we have any this evening? Doesn't look like it.
No.
Is that a none? Yeah. Somebody's put a hand up there. Councillor Defty?
Trying it, are you?
Oh, he's gone. He's gone.
Yeah, I've got it off.
Oh.
I was trying to get rid of the thumbs up.
Trying to get rid of it. Right.
It was just a second.
Right.
Okay,
No bother.
Okay. Item 3 is public participation. What are your wishes this evening, Council?
Madam Mayor, could I propose that we have public participation as per usual, maximum 30 minutes. But as we have item 5, Hetton Nursery, which probably a lot of people might want to speak, we could then give them the opportunity that you could suspend standing orders at item 5 to allow public to participate, then if they wish on that subject.
I'll second that.
Yeah, are we all okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Right then, item 3, public participation.
See your hand up somewhere. Lindsay. Do you wish to speak, Lindsay?
Trying to get it off mute. I just want to quickly ask you, does anybody know any update on the Fox and Hounds with what's going on there? I think I heard something before. I think it was due to restrictions, something to do with COVID, that they hadn't been kicked out of there. I'm just trying to find out if there's any update really, and anything we can do about it, the way that I saw that it is.
I haven't heard anything.
Oh, nothing
Councillor
from me.
Defty? Councillor Defty?
Yeah, I am. If I'm incorrect, somebody put me right, but I'm sure they were refused planning and for the car wash there, but they're still operating. Obviously, when COVID isn't, they haven't been shut down for COVID, but planning permission was refused, and they were still trading. And there's a couple of members of the public who brought that to my attention, and I was just I think if we could just ring planning to see if that still stands, if we could still if town clerk could ask that question to planning, please.
Yeah.
Is that Lindsay or?
I meant like, as in that I saw that it is kind of, can we do anything about the eyesore? Because there's obviously that, and then at the top of where we live at Pecar Moseley, there's an old church that's got like a shipbuilding and loads of scrap vehicles and things like that. And I'm just trying to find out because just to try and tidy the area up a little bit, I have put a thing into Sun and Council online. But I don't really know what channels to go down there to try and see if we can tidy up the place a little bit, that's all.
Yeah, good point. Anybody got any direction there then? Because I don't know how to go to.
Madam Mayor,
I'll
could
find
I
someone.
suggest that we ask the town clerk to write to Sunderland City Council, asking them, if they could use their powers of enforcement to tidy these places up. They do have certain powers. It's whether they're prepared to exercise them or not. The two sites that Lindsay referred to, as you say, are quite large eyesores.
So, Jim, can I just clarify with members of the public? You
you.
mentioned Fox and Hounds. What was the second location?
It's at the top of Moseley Bank. There's an old little
The
church
Methodist
there.
chapel. It's a Methodist chapel.
And the man that lives opposite, he's got a big farm building, and that's all full of old vehicles as well. And then he's got the land where the church is there. It's quite dangerous, actually. It looks like the fence is about to fall, because we went sledging with the kids the other day, and it looks like if it falls and somebody's walking, it's like a public footpath behind there. It's really dangerous.
Yeah.
I think, if I may, I think it may come down under environmental, I think. As in, when you've got the fly tipping, I think it'll all come under there.
The shipyard
Herring?
was there when they were making fiberglass hulls for boats and yachts. And that boat's been there for about more than 30 years, I would guess. Easy.
Easy.
Which certainly the planning enforcement would be the people probably to take that up.
Thanks for that.
The other thing I was going to ask about was while we're on about Bog Row School. I mean, what's the position with that one? They did get plan permission for I believe it was a hotel type change of use, but there's nothing happened to it other than somebody ripped the roof off. It has been repaired, I believe, but just to see what's going to happen with the Bog Row School while we're on with the three buildings. Thank you.
I've just got another 4 members of the public coming through.
Councillor Rowan's got a hand up.
I'll wait till the public comes in, and then we'll.
I think that's everyone in.
Okay, Councillor Rowan.
Yes, I've just gone into the planning website regarding the Fox and Hounds, and there is a decision notice to refuse change of use to provide hand car wash in the car parking area, and that's dated the 10th of September 2019, and there have been no appeals against it. So that has been refused. So that was addressed to Alan LeBlond, who I don't know where he is now, because I know his property was sold. But the other, I will try and search the Bog Row application while we're talking and come back later, if that's all right.
To the public. Councillor Geddes in a minute. Councillor Geddes. Yeah, Councillor Geddes.
Yeah, Graham, just for information, the last time we had somebody out on such a subject was David Evans from the enforcement people, if that helps.
Okay. Thank you.
Do other members of the public wish to speak? I haven't got anybody on chat, so probably the nursery. What's the majority? Can I see any others?
No, there don't appear to be any.
Doesn't appear to be any. No.
We wish to move on to item 4. Do you wish to move on to item 4, Chairman?
Fine.
Okay. You have 2 sets of minutes this evening. I'll bring them on the screen now. Something happening here. First of all, if I can just apologise to members for the lateness of these draft minutes. Members might recall that after the 18th of January meeting, to my horror, I discovered that the Zoom recording hadn't worked. And I'm relying very heavily on the recordings to compile my minutes at the moment, and I have been for some months now. I've had multiple exchanges of correspondence with Zoom since the 19th. But it was only on Thursday evening at about 9:30 that they were actually able to recover the recording for me. So I hastily had to pull these meetings together on Friday. So the reason for the lateness. And there may be one or two actions which haven't been expedited yet because of
Still a baby or a child on somewhere.
Catch them young, but
yeah, still a child or a baby on. Oh, they've gone, I think.
Maybe a child or Jackie tried to get about in.
yes, I appreciate that keenness. Okay, so I'll just all members will have had a copy of these on Friday, but I'll just run through them. There are 5 pages altogether. Again, the item about Hetton Nursery took 55 minutes, so you have a very pre-seed minute here.
Madam Mayor, could I propose that if nobody has any amendments or alterations, that these minutes are adopted as a true record?
Second them.
I'm just going to take it off screen for the moment, see if there's any views at all.
I cannot see anybody.
I'm going to go on to the second screen.
Oh, Councillor Defty's got his hand up again. Oh, are you saying good to it, right?
Okay.
I second that.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. My favourite term, any dissent at all on those minutes? No. Good. Okay, the next set of minutes, item 4B, the screen share again. This is the extraordinary meeting held on 25th of January. But I feel I want to get myself in a knot here. No, that's worked fine. Yeah, this is the meeting held to consider the Finance and Resources Committee, which was approved. And we also had Sergeant Neil Hudspeth from Northumbria Police along. There we go.
Madam Mayor, could I again, if nobody has any amendments to the minutes, that I propose that these are adopted as a true record of what took place?
Again, Councillor Defty's got his thumbs up. So you approve that you approve it. Seconded, Councillor Defty? Yeah, he's nodding.
Very good.
Yeah, second that.
Thanks. Any other views? Let's have a quick look across the screen. Okay, approved. Thank you very much. Item 5, Hetton Nursery.
Emma wants to speak. Emma Ovington.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening.
Good evening, Emma.
Hiya. Before I kind of ask a couple of questions, I just thought it would be really interesting to put the council in the picture, I think, because as Councillor Farthing pointed out on the cabinet meeting on the 9th that she'd done her research. We'll also have the public. And I just think it's quite interesting when you look into the financial reason that they're given for shutting the nursery. So I just wanted to run through what I'd found with you all, if that's okay. It won't take me very long, just to put you in the picture. So what I found out is that, and I know Councillor Elvin also knows about this as well, I'm sure he looked into it, that the current head teacher started there in 2014, 2015. And when she first started there, it was during a budget setting meeting that she realised there was a projected deficit of 179,950. So the nursery, of course, made a plan, and within a year they reduced that down to £46,000, which meant they saved 133,950 in a year with a significant restructure. Reasons for the increase since then in terms of the deficit that the council are stating that they have has been down to a large number of reasons. As far as I'm concerned, quite a few out of the nursery's control. So for example, there's been salary increases. This is across, of course, the whole of Sunderland. Utility rates inflated, SLA charges increased. The nursery actually lost £12,000 to commissioned places, which is basically money that they were using and set aside for students who needed social care and were very vulnerable and would then attend the nursery full time. They lost that. The SEND bursaries that actually, as far as I'm aware, the local council and meant to chip in and pay for, they lost that, which was costing them £6,000 on average a year, the nursery itself, to fund that for any children with learning difficulties or SEN difficulties. School rates were then reduced at £4,000. They weren't paying for them before. That was something new that came in. And I think one of the staggering things is that I found out is that they lost £55,000 because of the COVID closure. And again, not something I deem to be anybody's fault when we're all in the same boat. And of course, there's been a reduction in the lump sum that the nursery itself gets. Now, I thought what was really quite alarming was in 2017-18, they nearly balanced the books and they only had an in-year deficit of 1,113, which I thought was fantastic. Now, if the Sunderland Council were to take out the COVID loss, because let's face it, it's happened everywhere, and I know that the council should be getting funding from the government for COVID. The nursery actually only has a deficit of 112,561, as opposed to the 167,561 that it's projected to end the year on this year. So I just thought it was worth kind of pointing that out to you all, just whether you knew or didn't know, because I think it's certainly quite eye-opening when they keep using finance as a reason to close the nursery, because I'm sure there is bound to be other nurseries out there with similar or close to deficits. Of course, COVID's been a massive hit for the nursery. So for me, what I wanted to raise tonight really was, I found it really dejecting on the 9th when they had that cabinet meeting. Not only because it was well before the informal had actually closed on the 14th, but because it didn't even mention the public participation that the Sunderland Echo quite embarrassingly pointed out for them, that at that point there was 490 people had responded and over 90% said they didn't want the nursery to close. Now, what is the point in having a public participation if they're not actually going to listen to us at all? And that's my worry moving forward with the formal. Are they going to listen to us? Are they going to hear what we've got to say? Because I feel right now the answer is no. And again, what's the point in having that part of the process? The other thing, of course, was Hetton Primary. Now, no one's disputing them getting a new build. It's fantastic and it's what's needed. But they keep pointing out, of course, in our proposal for the closure of the nursery itself, that it will be down to a loss of students, that it's not succeeding because it's got a loss of students. And the fact that, of course, it's not financially viable. Now, why build a new nursery attached to a primary school if ours isn't getting the numbers then? That's what I would question. On top of that, what's quite frightening, and the more that I begin to panic about, is they are making an assumption children are going to move from this nursery to the Hetton primary one. It is going to be a building site. There's no way around that, and that's frightening that they're going to put these young children in a vulnerable position to be on a building site rather than keep the one that's open right now. There's nothing wrong with it, but instead they're rushing this through to close it in September 2021 without any thought for moving the children to a building site. And I just think that's beyond unfair. And the final thought was about the impact on other educational settings, mainly because the more I read the proposal for ours, it actually states that parents travel well beyond where they need to get to our current nursery, and actually Hetton Lions would be closer. So why are we looking to add on to Hetton Primary then? What's the impact that nursery opening up there is going to have on Hetton Lions, for example? So I just want to put a couple of things forward just for consideration, because we're getting to the stage now of desperation because we're just not being listened to. Obviously, we are by yourselves, but not by Sunderland City Council. So thank you for listening.
I know. I think Ruth Williams wants to give an update. She can, please. Ruth.
Hi everyone. Hi. I just thought I'd kind of just say where we are in case people weren't aware. So obviously we were bitterly disappointed that the local authority did decide to take the proposal through to Cabinet before the pre-consultation had closed on the 14th of February. So obviously the public support hadn't finished at that point. Councillor Louise Farthing made no reference to the responses of the consultation, which were exceeding 500 at the time of the meeting, and over 95% of those were in support of keeping the nursery open. So that just wasn't mentioned throughout the whole Cabinet meeting. Then obviously Cabinet have approved the proposal to move forward to formal consultation for closure, and that runs from the 22nd of February for 4 weeks, which doesn't give anybody a lot of time to respond. After which the council aims to make a decision on the nursery by April or May at the latest. The formal consultation is different to the pre-consultation, so there's no questions asked. Individuals are just asked to send an email to a designated email address, which we will publish on our website and our Facebook pages when we have it. And we're again just asking for help and urging everybody to respond to the formal consultation. But we do just want to say thank you, because there has been so much support for the nursery. Thanks very much.
Penny wishes to speak.
Hi, yes, thank you. It was just really to build on what Emma had said there. I think my concern is mainly that we have acted so far, doing everything that we've been asked to do, responding to questionnaires, but aren't being listened to. Our views weren't shared by our councillors when it went to kind of Sunderland Council meeting last week. Just been sending emails to Alan on math because Alan wasn't given a response to my questions. He was just given a response as a blanket response. So she said, right, I'll email him for you. She didn't even know when I'd phoned her office the day after Sunderland Council had decided to take it to the next stage. When I spoke to Jane in her office, they didn't even know it had been agreed to go to the next stage, because they said, oh, it won't have been agreed yet. And I said, it has been. Now, if they're not getting a response from the council, who is going to listen to our views? And also, family and friends are able, they're not all computer literate. I can't go to my daughter's great-grands and help her put her response in an email to the council, where she would have been able to walk into a building normally and have her views heard. I just think, how are our views being heard? Are they being listened to? Because it doesn't appear so. And also, what about people who were not allowed? COVID's not allowing us to go in and support them on getting their views heard by the council either. So that's people that would have added into this stage who weren't able to, and they're not going to be able to do that in the next stage, because obviously we're still going to be in a lockdown situation. And that's my worry, because I just feel as if we're not being listened to. They've just set this agenda and they're just focused on that, and it doesn't seem to matter what we're doing as the public. We don't want the nursery to close, and I know lots of the councillors don't want that nursery to close. But how can we get that point across to Sunderland Council when they're not listening and they're not taking that into consideration? And that was it, really.
Lindsay, do you want a word? And then Councillor Hopper wants to come in, I believe.
Yeah, I just want to say, I just feel like Sunderland Council have gunned for this nursery for years. I was actually part of the restructure back in 2015. I worked at the nursery when the 3-year plan was actually put in place. And obviously they've done really well and get the deficit narrowed. I would also just like to point out really that kind of the council have put nails in the coffin by selling the old library building to Tavistock, which took a lot of the children away from that nursery. Eppleton were able to open a nursery class, and obviously now Hetton Primary. And I just feel like the Sunderland Council is just desperately trying to close that nursery school, which unfortunately it does have a massive deficit still. Is there any plan to have you been able to put a plan in place to kind of reduce it? It's just a shame really, because obviously it's been there for so long and it means a lot to the community. And that's all.
Councillor Hopper, then Councillor Deputy.
Hi, thank you. Good evening. Ever since I come on to Hetton Town Council, we've listened to stories about the state of the community, individuals, groups, no support, no resources, no spending. People are listening, but they're not actually hearing over at Sunderland Council. We pay them council tax. They don't listen. They try to put houses on our green spaces. They try to close the nursery down. It's an outstanding nursery. I know everybody knows. We don't know how this new nursery is going to turn out, and it's going to be a building site. It's going to upset these kids, no end, and the parents while they're building it. Now, I was just thinking that for about 1.5 years, I've been asking the Sunderland City Councillors for Hetton, what's the plan for the future? And all I'm getting is, well, don't know, there isn't any plan. Well, apparently, we've got this Sunderland core strategy, which is cast a strategy, a plan for the future, and now it's a guide. Now it can be changed at any time. So we don't know what's going on. They're not listening. So if they're not listening, let's go past them. And I would love to work with people on the council, maybe take advice from the town clerk and get an official complaint, whether we go to the highest point in the council, the chief executive, or go outside to an independent ombudsman, because you're right, nobody is listening. And they must be hearing, because we're screaming down at Hetton. They're taking everything away, everything. They're not, nothing. Well, I mean, I've just heard down at North Road they're going to do something with the road, finally. But it's like, sort of, you know, you never want to say it's too late. But they're not doing anything for us. They're taking everything away. And to top it off, I've heard that they're going to increase the council tax. So that means we're paying more for the education and we're actually getting less. So, yeah, official complaint, I think. So, as I say, I'll take instruction with the town clerk on what that is. So that might not be until next month, and try and maybe work with you, Councillor Alvin, to knock something into shape. But I think we need to go further than just this meeting and make an official complaint against this administration that is doing so much damage to our community. Thank you.
Councillor Deputy, then Councillor Geddes.
I just, I think everybody heard of what happened. I mean, we even had our Councillor Thornton didn't even turn up for the meeting, put absence in, and we had other councillors there that never spoke up, city councillors, and they're supposed to be supporting their own community. They've been voted in by their own community, and they're not standing up and shouting out from the top. They should be there. They should be at the forefront of keeping this nursery open. And I just like to say, I think we should I don't know. I just think it's an absolute disgrace. They didn't even. Some of them didn't even turn up for the meeting, and then again, none of them. Not one person spoke up for the nursery. I think it's an absolute disgrace.
Zero representation.
Councillor Geddes.
Yeah, just following on from Councillor Deputy's comments, I think the total time spent on it was 3 minutes. But it was interesting because I watched all the council meetings, and we've got a similar situation with Derwent Hill, where Derwent Hill's facing some pressures. And I mean, tight, we've only got one apology in from a city councillor, and that's Doris Stern, and that's come through a third party. Interesting enough, Pat Smith stood up at that particular meeting about Derwent Hill, and bear with me for a moment here, and she said, how many redundancies is there going to be? Well, there's not going to be any for Derwent Hill. And she stood up and said, well, it'll close over my dead body because it's precious. Now, 3 minutes from our Hetton City councillors, where were they? Where were they? Nowhere to be seen. Where are they tonight? This just shows the level of respect they've got for Hetton Town Council and Hetton people. But I just want to make a couple of points, please, if you don't mind. Graham, could we get from City Council a detailed report on the early years spending across the other nurseries? Because I'm led to believe there's 8, and it would be interesting reading to get that. And could I make a proposal as well, please? Because I wrote to Mr. Rowan, Mr. Alan Rowan, and got a load of waffle back. So could we actually request a meeting with the group that does decide this? Because quite clearly, I think Councillor Farthen's comments were rather lopsided. And I'll give you another example. And you know, I could be shut down for this, but I'm going to say it anyway. When Hetton Library closed, Horton Library was unaffected. And if I recall, Councillor Waterson, I think they started close down Hetton Nursery by half days, which obviously affected the football, which obviously was one of the reasons they closed it. So, you know, this type of manipulation of a situation, it happens. And I just think as a council, we've got to really stand up, we've got to force the issue and ask some very, very pertinent questions. And I think the first one, I would like to see the people, that the decision-making people, being asked to attend an extraordinary meeting of Hetton Council. It's as simple as that, because if we don't, this is going to get railroaded through. That's all I've got to say. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. I believe does Councillor Elvin and Councillor Rome wish to speak?
Yes, ladies before gentlemen. Councillor Rome.
Well, she's not speaking, so she.
No, I just,
Yes.
Councillor Elvin had his hand up at the very beginning, then I was next, then we've had several others come in, so I think you wanted to say something first, Councillor Elvin.
Oh, if you like, okay. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well, there's several points. Obviously, it's interesting to find out if they actually broke their own rules by having that decision meeting prior to the official stage 1 consultation being completed. The cabinet meeting being on the 9th and the official consultation finishing on the 14th, whether the clerk could find that out. There may be some mileage in trying to pursue that point. If they've broken their own rules, then that would set things back at least a few weeks. And this is a very strange situation. I can't get my head around it. The figures I am familiar with that were illustrated to you earlier. And it's interesting that the previous heads seem to be burnt through a huge surplus in 2 years. And then so they got what I perceive to be a promotion to the head of another nursery school, and then left it in the problems in the hands of the current headmistress, who's done a sterling job. And the preamble from the gentleman who came to talk to us in the report to the cabinet is absolutely disgraceful, saying that it's had an operational deficit year on year since 2015. Well, there's no evidence of that. And there's also, there was a meeting with the school governors when the new headmistress took over, where they said that if they could turn it around and get rid of the deficit, then they would write off the budget at that point. Something which was unfortunately not minuted and subsequently not being honoured. But I think that point needs to be driven home. The second thing is there was an additional lump sum of £23 million granted by the government in August 2020 for 2021 for maintained nursery schools. So where has Sunderland City Council's share of that gone? So, obviously they've been getting money left, right and centre from other funds that have been done. And another interesting thing, the average loss across maintained nursery schools during COVID-19 is nearly £40,000. So our schools in the same ballpark. We do need to look for assistance, and I've been looking at the National Education Union website, which I'd ask you all to have a look at, neu.org.uk, which have got a program to save, maintain nursery schools, and they give an outline of the things that we can do. And one of them, which I think we should do immediately, we should involve our erstwhile and always missing MP, who lives in the shadow cabinet now, got big fish to fry probably. So we need to find out what Ms. Phillipson's got to say about this and why she's supporting it, and if not, why not? And she should be making bigger waves. She was the first to crow on about getting the money to revamp the unadopted roads in the Hetton Downs area a few years ago. She got the money for that. She got the money for the new secondary school in Hetton. So if she has these wonderful powers to get money when money is short, then she should be using those magical powers to get them again for this school. But I think we need to go down the road of challenging Sunderland City Council on the way they've handled this. And it's very, very difficult because it is being railroaded through. And the people who are making the decision are basically the cabinet. And they seem to be bypassing the actual main council. It's never appeared on the main council agenda, the monthly meeting for the main council. And there really, to me, there seems to be a rabbit away here. And we're going to have to really put a thinking caps on about how we can do it. But I think contacting Ms. Phillipson is the first thing. And also, if you look at this website, it tells you how to give you a draft letter to write to the Prime Minister. Well, it can't do any harm if everybody fills this letter in and puts their own name on it. And then we can find out how many people have sent it. And we need to start raising the profile, and we need to start doing it very, very quickly. So whether we need to get some sort of working party together to do that, interested councillors, members of the community, to find out how we can really, really raise the profile, because as you say, Sunderland City Council would appear to have no intention of taking any notice of us. Could I just ask the clerk finally? You wrote to all the Sunderland City councillors asking for their assistance. To date, how many replies have you had?
2.
And can we have a copy of those, please?
Is that run electronically?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I can't do it from this evening's meeting, but yes, I can certainly provide them.
Could you put them on the Hetton Town Council website?
Yeah.
Well, presumably, if the correspondence was written to Hetton Town Council, then that is for Hetton Town Council to see. So it should be in the public domain. I'd be interested to see what these councillors have to say.
Yeah, that's fine.
And again, we need to start attacking them a little bit more and embarrassing them. Thank you for your time, but as I say, I think we've got a really tough job on.
And then Councillor Waterston.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Councillor Pearson, can I let other members speak? 'Cause I'm making some notes as we're going here, but there's quite a lot of things. I just need to be clear of the direction I'm going with it. But if we can hear other members or other members of the public, that would be great.
Councillor Orme and then Councillor Waterston. And
Right. Thank you, Madam Chairman. First of all, I'd just like to say, echo what Councillor Elvin has said. They seem to be railroading this through, and I believe it's because of the forthcoming elections. It seems to be rush, 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 And again, the fact that Hetton seems to be ignored time and time again, I'm sorry, but it's political. I really feel that Hetton is being discriminated against because it's no longer a Labour stronghold like it used to be. And Hetton Town Council once used to be the bee's knees with Sunderland Council when it was Labour led. Since Labour lost control, they just don't seem to want to know about what goes on, and we are being punished. And I think it's shameful. Now, I'm sorry to hear that Councillor Turner is ill, and I do wish her well. However, I asked her to promise me at a December meeting and at a January meeting that she would forward the application forms for some funding for Headley Home Nursery. She still hasn't done it. The town clerk has had to chase a lady from the Coalfield Area Committee to actually get that form, which came today. And here we are in February. It's absolutely shameful. And so they're trying to railroad this decision through to before the May elections, because unfortunately, Labour are looking a bit rocky on what's going to happen in the elections. And if they want this done and dusted, and it's a punishment for Hetton, in my opinion. And I'm sorry to say that, but it is becoming more and more apparent, and it's shameful on behalf of, of Sunderland, Hetton Town Council ratepayers. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. I've got a question from Emma before Councillor Waterston, just saying that Bridget Phillipson, would she be able to come to an extraordinary meeting if we can get one arranged? Okay, Councillor Waterston.
I think it's a very good idea. Could I just propose that, Madam Mayor, before we go any further?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Right.
And then can we get it off to ASAP?
That's fine. Right, Councillor Waterston, then William Galaxy wishes to speak.
William Galaxy.
Well, that's what he's got written there. I don't know.
Billy Finch.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to support Councillor Geddes, Councillor Elvin and Councillor Rowan and what they've said. I would like to say that I think the city councillors of Hetton have really behaved appallingly. They're ignoring everything that's being asked of them. Councillor Blackburn, Councillor Turner, Councillor Rowntree and Councillor Thornton have been nowhere in sight for this Hetton nursery. They made
Well said, Councillor.
well, I'm sorry.
Well said.
They made the usual noises on Facebook, on social media that we're here for you. And then when the spotlight's on them, they've run away. And I think it's appalling. I also, at this point, want to say, I think their attitude and their respect for Hetton Town Council, by not putting apologies in now, we rarely get them, is atrocious.
Yeah.
I think that shows a lack of respect, not to us as people, but to Hetton Town Council, which they supposedly prize above a lot of things. Again, I agree with the Rowan. That it's because
They do,
it's
so
no
if you would
longer a
accept their
Labour-
apologies when they do put them in.
It's not. I beg your pardon, Councillor Heron.
They may do
I'm
so
sorry, I
if you would
didn't-
accept their apologies when they put them in.
Well, as far as I know, they have been accepted. I think it's only when there's no apologies that I can't think that we haven't accepted them. I mean,
Continually refuse them.
Point of order, Madam Mayor. Point of order. Let the record state from the minutes that anybody who has submitted their apologies have normally been accepted. The only ones who are not accepted are those who do not submit them.
Yeah.
And I say again, I think, Councillor, it's just another one of your red herons.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well,
sorry, Councillor, your red herons Yorkshire's gone, man. And by the way,
can I
continue?
There is time in those minutes when
Councillor Waterston, continue, please.
Geddes is the biggest one for turning them down.
Well, can I just respect?
Excuse me, can we go back? Hang on.
That comment. Councillor Heron, are you saying that Hetton Town Council should bend the rules for Labour councillors that don't follow the rules? Is that what you're saying? Because the only time I've actually...
Okay, point of order. Come on, let's get back to the point, Councillor Waterson.
No, I've been challenged. That
No, come on,
I'm not
Councillor
about
Waterson
that.
needs to
They
speak.
continually refuse them.
Because they don't
No.
follow the rules.
Even when they've been put in correctly, they
No,
refuse
no,
them.
no,
And that's why
not
they
true.
won't put the
Okay,
police
Please, can we
in.
let Councillor Waterson
Certainly not true.
continue?
Load of rubbish.
Let Councillor Waterson
Want
continue.
to speak? Come on.
Right, yeah, I'm just going to continue to say what I said. I think it's appalling that they don't represent Hetton. They really don't. We haven't heard anything about Hetton Nursery from them. They're nowhere in sight until there's some wonderful scheme to promote themselves for the election. And that's the way I see it at the moment. I'm very disappointed that they haven't come out and shown these residents and these people for Hetton Nursery any support at all, because it's a foregone conclusion in their eyes. And again, they're puppets for Sunderland Labour Council. And that's all I've got to say on that.
I believe William wants to speak.
They're not here for the people. Thank you.
Thank you. William, are you wanting to speak? William?
2 seconds.
All right. Sorry, William.
Have I done it? Point
Yes,
of order.
yes, you're on now.
Point of order. Councillors, chill your boots.
Exactly.
I don't know how to change my name on the old... I don't know how to change my name. It's just William Galaxy. It's a new name anyway. Happy days. I'm standing for election. Galaxy all the way.
That's sweet.
I'm struggling. I don't even know what I want to say to everybody. I'm emotional. I'm sad. I'm fearful. And that's me. As a truck driver, as an army veteran, I've served in countless countries around the world, and I've never felt so uncertain about the future. And if that's how I feel, how does the staff feel at the nursery? How does it breaks my heart to think about. I'm spending every day thinking about the nursery and the bigger picture for the community. And I've written to Bridget Phillipson. I have had a response. It wasn't brilliant. It was basically that the council are working and it hasn't gone to formal. Obviously now it has. Fair play to Councillor Heron. You seem to always turn up to these meetings and you get a battering. But unfortunately, it's a Labour-controlled council that are closing or proposing to close the nursery. My dad, Billy Finch Senior, he's no longer with us, and I'm sorry to drill on, but it's important to people. It's really important. He brought us up, from the pits and community and looking out for one another. And to see this council do this to our residents, to our community, to our people, to our children, it breaks my heart. It really does break my heart. I could understand financial reviews in normal times, but in COVID, where people are dying all over, we were just talking before the meeting started, 49-year-old, 59-year-old. And we're talking about this closing a nursery in the middle of this. Shame on you, Labour Council, shame. Sorry, I'll leave it there because my effing and jeffing will just go off. Just absolute bollocks.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Councillor Hopper again? No, you just put your hand up, have you? No, okay.
I was just cheering Billy. Actually, I was quite
just cheering him on.
Yeah, just quite touched by what he said. And do you know what it is?
Yeah.
takes a member of the public to bring you back down to earth, doesn't it?
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay. Councillor Geddes?
Yeah, could I just ask the town clerk, please, or if Emma knows the answer, or even Ruth. I don't want to put Ruth in a difficult position, but obviously I mentioned before about downhill, and the overwhelming point I wanted to get across is if this closure of an outstanding nursery goes through, how many members of staff will be made redundant? You know, that needs clarification, because, you know, it's livelihoods for them. It's the destruction of a very good educational establishment. And, you know, I think we've just got to do something drastic to get this through. I really do. So,
Ruth's saying around 15 staff, 15 staff.
how many's at risk? 15.
Sorry? What, sorry? She's just said around 15 staff.
That is absolutely disgraceful.
I'd like to know what the union thinks of it. You know, the Labour-controlled unions, or is it the union-controlled Labour? I'm not too sure which way it works these days.
There's two unions involved, Michael. There's the support staff union, Unison, and I think there's the National Association of Teachers, if Ruth can confirm that. But I mean, again, you know, it's people's livelihoods in this absolutely deplorable move by Sunderland City Council. It's absolutely disgraceful. And I think can we really get to grips with this and get a working group up, and we've got to apply some pressure, because talking amongst ourselves is not getting us very far. We've got to now be a bit radical. Thank you.
Thank you. I believe the town clerk wants to have a word.
Yeah, please. Obviously, the last item has generated, again, quite a bit of discussion, understandably, from both members of the public and elected members. I'm struggling a little bit to navigate my way through the various suggestions that have been made. And I just need some clarity. I've made some notes. We've touched, for example, on the potential role of the Ombudsman. And I can't rule that one out straight away. The town council cannot complain to the local government and health service ombudsman. It's not in their remit. There was a suggestion that there's a complaint made to the chief executive of Sunderland City Council. There's been suggestions that procedurally the City Council haven't handled this correctly. There are issues around understanding the financial information which has been flagged up in support of the proposal to close the school. There's been a suggestion of an extraordinary meeting of the council with the MP, and there's also been a suggestion of a working party as well. Now, I need to steer on how to actually pull this together. I would first of all need to just establish the legalities of a working party. It's certainly something the council can do, but I think there was a suggestion earlier that members of the public join that working party or working group as well. I need to understand and take some advice on how that would actually work in practice and the mechanics of it. But in terms of where we go next, if there's any specific actions, they need to be crystallised this evening.
Madam Mayor, I think the first thing is I propose that we get the invitation sent to Bridget Phillips, and with a size suggestion as a working group. We don't necessarily have to do it through the town council. It could just be friends of Hetton Nursery School. We could just get together. I'm quite happy to coordinate it with the headmistress and try and formulate some action plan that we could all take, and maybe the council might want to follow. But we do need to get our skates on because they're going to railroad it through, and well, it's all been said before. It's a foregone conclusion. They've probably got this. I shouldn't say this and probably get shot down. They've probably got the site here marked to sell to one of their friends for £1 to build houses on.
Emma, I believe you want to have another word, and then Councillor Hopper, then Councillor Rome.
Was that for me? Sorry, yeah.
Yes, sorry, Emma.
I think it was just for us all to just take a step back and realise that albeit we're really upset as parents, we're really upset as councillors, as residents and everything else, But I picked my son up from there the other day, and I just took a moment to reflect and thought about him. And albeit I'll try not to get emotional, it's the idea that a 2 or 3 year old, however old they're going to be, are going to rock up in September expecting to be there to see the same staff, the same friends. My little boy the other day just again comes home talking about all of his friends, and I thought, well, you know, this time next year you might not be with them, and I don't think I can break that to him. I don't. Not particularly for someone who's so keen on routine and doesn't like change. And I think it's about time they realise that they're messing with children's lives. They can mess with adults all they like and think that's acceptable, but it's children they're playing with. And I think it's just for all of us to realise that it's their emotions that's at play here. Thank you.
No?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Councillor.
Just
Yeah, Councillor Hopper, then Councillor Rome. Yeah, sorry.
Just respond to the town clerk about the complaint. Town clerk, I'll take your advice on the complaint, but I want the complaint to go to the highest level possible, because it's not that they're not listening. They just don't hear what we've got to say, do they? They just don't seem to be bothered. They're dismantling our I don't want to get on one, but they're dismantling our community, and we're paying them to do it. We're paying them to do it. Part of your council tax goes to a council's wages to shut your school. That's exactly what's happening. Or to build houses on a park that people use. The decision-making process, it's ridiculous. So I would like to go to the highest level. I'll take your advice. It doesn't have to be a letter written tonight or tomorrow. Let's think about it, because there's so many things we need to complain about to Sunderland Council, and we wanted to go to the right people. Thank you.
Councillor Rome and then Councillor Geddes.
Yes, could I just propose what Councillor Elvin said about Friends of Hetton Nursery School? Perhaps if we could maybe make a decision tonight now on a date for a Zoom meeting between ourselves. That's number one. And number two, I agree that we should write a letter of complaint to the highest executive in Sunderland Council. And then thirdly, I'd just like to say I don't hold out any hope for any response from our MP, because A, there is no election brewing. And even though if there was, because of the changes in the boundary for constituencies, she's not going to be our MP next time, because Hetton will go, some part of Hetton will go into Easington and part will go into Durham, and she'll be whizzed off somewhere else to a safe seat. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Geddes?
Yeah, could I ask some indulgence on this one from the town clerk and the mayor? Given the dire consequences of this nursery closing, would it be appropriate for me as a town councillor or somebody else to ask the council whether they would help Hetton Nursery if they so choose to get a solicitor involved financially? Now, I don't know the ins and outs of that. That's why I've asked you the question. So technically, if Hetton Nursery would like to appoint a legal person to help fight this, because let's face it, none of us have got the legal brain behind us. And I know how much the City Council don't like the legal route. Would it be possible, would the council support if Hetton Town Council would give them some financial help? I mean, the first step here is to say, can we do it?
Ruth's saying they have a solicitor engaged.
Right.
So that's what Ruth's saying at the moment. They have a solicitor engaged.
Well, the question still stands, can we help in any way financially, if that's possible, if we can do it?
I don't know, probably the town clerk would be probably best bet.
Yeah, if I can just comment on that. We have used the powers that are available to us under what's known as Section 137, and we used that to effect in December to give some financial assistance to 4 community groups. It will need some further investigation by me. There are some things you can give money to, which are effectively discretionary funds. I would have to make a specific inquiry about funding a school to finance legal advice. But I'm certainly happy to do that if that's the wishes of council.
Told by Lindsay that Councillor Blackburn wanted us to get an independent person to help with Cragdale Gardens. So I don't know what happened in that case.
My recollection is it didn't gain any traction.
Well, it still stands. That's the proposal I want to put forward.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine, no problem. If we leave it to the clerk, he'll find out the situation and come back to you.
Thank you.
Is that the end of everybody? I've got nobody's hand up. I've got nobody's wishing.
Madam Mayor, could we just clarify the clerk has a defined position and he knows where he's going? Are you happy?
I know where I want to go. I know where I want to go.
I think, you know, what is we need to legally find out if there's a legal challenge to whether how they've broken the rules of the timetable. Then obviously get Bridget Phillipson, and then we obviously need to look at.
Yeah, I see Councillor Dodds has got her hand up now.
Yes, Madam Mayor, there was a query about having a meeting. I was just wondering if we could pencil a date in with the friends of the nursery group.
Tomorrow night? Wednesday night?
I think we need time to formulate stuff,
It's
but
something, yeah. I know we'll have to be quick, but we still need time, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So say
what's realistic time? Town clerk, a week?
A week, I would have said, but yeah.
Well, sorry. My understanding is that any meeting with the Friends group isn't in an official town council capacity. It's a group of members meeting with them outside of the auspices of the legal framework.
Yeah.
If you want a town council meeting, you need 3 clear working days. But that's not my understanding of what was suggested.
I don't know, there were several views come across whether it was going to be held by the town council or whether it was just going to be held through the Friends group. I just wasn't clear on that one.
I picked up that there was a requirement for an extraordinary meeting of the town council, which invited the MP along.
Yeah.
But independently of that, there was going to be some sort of discussions with the Friends of Hetton group by individual members.
Could it all be collated into one meeting so the public get a chance to question the MP as well?
The council's shout.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Or Madam Mayor, when we invite the MP, as soon as she turns up, there will be we can open it up for the public to ask her questions. We can we can make that part of it. That would, I think, be standard practice.
Jerome?
Yes, I do think we should get together, the Friends group, Friends of Hetton, just so that we can formulate a response, or unless Councillor Elver, a response regarding the finances, regarding the loss of jobs, this sort of thing. So we've got our ducks in a row. That will form a basis of a letter to the Chief Executive Officer and our letter to the MP, and it might help the council in when it wants to call an extraordinary meeting. I mean, normally with a situation like this, we would have called a public meeting, would have been called, but we can't because of COVID.
Chairman, if I can just comment as well on a practical basis. The town clerk has 8 working days before he has to set the arrangements away for the 15th of March routine monthly meeting. You know, February is a short month, and that has an effect on lead-in time for the March meeting. As I say, there are 8 days after tomorrow to actually get the next meeting up and running. So time is very tight.
Sorry, Madam Mayor, trying to get the mute off. Well, you know, if it's not feasible, then could we not have the invitation to the MP for that next meeting, and that she's given the floor, you know, as a speaker would do, as I have done in the past. We invite people, we invited the police and what have you to come and talk to us. She comes and talks not only to the council but to the whole community before the main business of the council is conducted. If you think it's impossible for us to get another meeting organised before the next one,
it's tight.
I mean, will everybody be happy if we wait till the next meeting to get the MP in? Or would everybody prefer to have it sooner if possible?
I think you've got to have it sooner, Councillor.
We must have a meeting with sorry, Ruth, the head teacher. Sorry, I can't remember her surname. We need to get a meeting this week to get our ducks in a row.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah.
We need to get that meeting done quickly.
Could the headmistress suggest a time convenient to her, maybe this week, for us all, you know, all to get together as a friends of Hetton Hole Nursery?
So,
if she's still there.
Saying she can attend any time, but she's got some.
Any
the
night.
3rd of March. The 3rd of March would be round about then. She'd be able to be back more.
Madam Mayor, could I ask that the clerk?
Sorry.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. Could I ask that the clerk writes to the MP and asks for the earliest possible date that she can attend an extraordinary meeting, but between now and give her a latest date for attendance, which could be our next meeting. Give her a time scale and say it's really urgent. The council do need to speak to her, and she needs to be able to address her constituents, and so she can get strength of feeling of what's going on in the community.
Saying she's free any night.
Madam Mayor, I said the. I know.
No, I'm saying Ruth's free. I'm saying Ruth's free to attend a meeting any night, not that the MP is. Ruth is.
I'll say, is that a proposal that we get and any time between tomorrow and whenever the next meeting is, her earliest possible date?
Can I just say, Councillor, that Emma's just put something on, and she said the next Hetton Town Council meeting is very close to the closure of the formal consultation.
That's right.
So it needs to be sort of immediately, really.
That's what I'm saying. We have to be quick.
That's what I'm saying.
Can I just, sorry, Chair, can I just say, I think what we really need to have is a meeting independent from Hetton Town Council. We need to have a meeting where we go as individuals to the Friends of Hetton Nursery and have a meeting then and decide what we want to do. I really think waiting for our MP to show up, even if she does, is wasting valuable time, because
absolutely, I agree with that.
It's on our heels here. We need to have a plan of action set out with the nursery, with the headmistress, see which direction we're going to go in. If we happen to get the MP to come, pigs might fly, but never mind. We need to be able to present her with whatever we want to do. Surely that's the way to go.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you. Sorry, can I quickly say something? I know you say that you're going to write to her. I mean, can you not like bang that up? Like, yes, write to her, email her, and ring and harass her.
Do all three harass her.
She won't come.
Harassment.
Pigeon. Come.
Yeah, Madam Mayor, I think what I was saying is we need to do these things concurrently. We need to do them but all at the same time. We need to write to the MP and we need to start talking to Ruth and friends.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I wasn't suggesting we wait until we'd had the meeting with the MP. We just got to get on and do it all at the same time.
And Ruth said she's free any time, and she said she'll, set one up this week even.
So can Ruth set up a Zoom meeting, or is Councillor Elvin going to do it?
I'm happy to do it. I have a license which obviously allows up to 100 people to participate, and doesn't have the usual 50-minute schedule on it, although Ruth may have the same, but I'm quite happy to facilitate it if required.
Then great, thank you, Councillor Elvin.
It's down to you then, Richard.
Well, I'll speak to Ruth and see what she wants to do.
Chair, could I just ask when Councillor Elvin sorts this meeting out and arranges it, that he invites or sends an email out to all councillors to invite them along?
But of course.
Thank you, Councillor Elvin.
Would that include the city councillors, can I ask?
I'm just speaking on behalf of myself there, so.
Oh, Councillor Dodds, I wasn't directing that at you. I was asking Councillor Elvin directly. Will he be asking the city councillors?
Well, I can do if people want me to. I can invite whoever you like. You know, on past records, it might be a bit of a waste of time. I seem to have lost everybody. Are you still there?
No, we're here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Still here,
We've got four city,
as well.
Did lose.
we've got 4 city councils on
councillors.
town council anyhow. So
The Town Clerk wishes to speak.
Can we move progress?
Yeah, the Town Clerk wishes to speak.
Yeah, just so I'm absolutely clear, it now looks, sorry, my understanding is that the action for me arising from this meeting is to approach the MP to ask her for her availability as a matter of urgency to attend an extraordinary meeting of the Town Council to discuss Hetton Nursery.
As soon as possible.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Now,
that's fine. Can we?
Sorry, there was one other aspect I need to clarify. The suggestion that there was a complaint made to the highest authority at Sunderland, that's going to be the Chief Executive. Listening to the conversation earlier, what prompted that seemed to be concern over the effectiveness or the perceived effectiveness of the consultation process, but it did seem to go wider than that. If my understanding is correct, what can Council just clarify their wishes on that?
Yes, I think it was alluded to that they may well have broken their own rule and closed the first stage of the consultation too early. I think that was said by Emma, I think. So that was one thing.
and the other thing was about the financials. They hadn't been truly represented by Rowan, who prepared the report.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, can we move on? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm getting the thumbs up from some people. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Move on now to item 6.
That one, they're just not listening.
Sorry? No. Item 6.
Yeah, over to members.
Reports from members. Ward matters. Councillor Coulson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to go back to what Lindsay said earlier about the going up High Moseley towards Valley View, the right-hand side with the concrete sort of boat. I'd agree with Councillor Hearn. I think it's been longer than 30 years. I think it's been 40 years. That site or that scene has never changed. It looks very sinister and dangerous, or concrete. Also, the wall, a stone wall, is in bad repair. It's dropping onto the path here and there. It's never been seen to, as far as I can remember. So, can we find out who owns that wall or who owns that site and do something with it? Not as it is, because it is an eyesore for people coming down from the Piddington area into Hetton to see that. On the left-hand side coming down, the right-hand side never changed. It looks very dangerous, and the wall looks dangerous too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Geddes then. Yeah, sorry, Town Clerk wishes to come in first.
Yeah, sorry, just a comment here. Can members please be quite specific in terms of the geography? We've had some feedback today from Sunderland City Council to issues raised at an earlier meeting, and they've had to come back and say where you're talking about, and the same applies here. I really do need specifics And ideally, if there's any photographic evidence as well, that would be even more helpful. But, you know, the bottom line is if I don't understand where it is, the officers at Sunderland are more than likely not to understand either.
Town Clerk?
Aye.
Oh, right, Councillor.
I just wanted to, the boatyard is about 50 yards away from where the fly tipping is at High Moseley. So if they just make the way to the fly tipping, then they'll see the boat in the field.
Right. This is what's confusing me. I'm here in reference to a boatyard, and I'm thinking Swan Hunters at Wales End.
Not quite, but it does beg the question: why a boatyard in the middle of Moseley?
It is called the Hetton Boat Company, by the way.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for that, Councillor Hearn. Thank you.
Councillor Waterston.
I think it's the top of the hill. I think it's Noah's in case it floods.
Top of the hill.
Councillor Waterston.
As you were.
You're on mute, Councillor Waterston.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, I'm just something the clerk just said there about getting the locations correct. Last meeting, I asked about a CCTV camera that had been put up at the bottom of Burn Lane, across the road from Burn Lane, where the old chapel is. And I said it had been put up and then it had been taken down a couple of months later. I don't know where they've got it from, but they've come back this afternoon, Clark, with Logan Terrace, something from the bottom of the top of Burn Lane onto Logan Terrace. Now, I've never mentioned Logan Terrace, and Logan Terrace is nowhere near Burn Lane. So I don't know which CCTV camera they're on about, but it's certainly not the one that I was on about. I don't think you mentioned Logan Terrace, and I certainly didn't. So I would like to just check what they're on about there, because it's not even the right position. So that was one of my problems.
Can I have a map? Send me a map.
I don't think it's you that needs the map, Clark.
No, just for forwarding on.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, sorry, that was all I've got to say on that one.
Okay then. Who else wishes to speak?
Well, with me, but you've missed us out.
No, I was before you. But you know, ladies before gentlemen, carry on.
Councillor Hopper.
Go on, Councillor Geddes, sorry.
Yeah, she mentioned me name and then she forgets us.
No, I'm saying Councillor Hopper when he said ladies before gentlemen.
Well,
Right, sorry.
He'll get a thick look if I can reach up to him.
Carry on, Councillor Geddes, sorry.
Just two quick ones. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure I mentioned this before, Mr. Cady. Up Easington Lane, there's some Harris fencing being round a public footpath now, and it's next door to a very nice house which is occupied by some very nice people. And I'm mindful, I'll say this word, but I think Chris Hartley owns the property, and it's absolutely dropping to bits, just the same as the one that was on fire in Hetton, and he seems to have done nothing about that. So, as with the enforcement officer, can we ask the question, is that Harris fencing going to be there forever, or are Sunderland City Council going to actually contact the owner and force him to do something? Because I don't see why a family in a beautiful home have got to live next door to somebody that's just totally allowing his property to drop to bits, because that's what it is. Thank you very much. And also, there's fly tipping again up the country park. So I'm sure that's already been reported. That's it for me. Thanks.
Hopper?
Oh, well, thank you very much, Madam Mayor, Lady Mayor. So just can I start off with the response from Sunderland City Council regarding the fly tipping up at Moseley? I don't know whether anybody's read it. Reports regular fly tipping stables at Moseley. Request that both sites are regularly monitored. Now the response, if I can just quickly read it out, I can confirm that in relation to High Moseley Farm, The council have received a total of 14 reports. I think I put in more, but anyway, we'll let that off. 14 in 2020, 2 in 2021. The area is subject to fly tipping a public right-of-way track leading off Moseley Road. Now, basically what they're saying in their responses, the options of a gate upon entrance has been explored, but resulted in the fly tipping being dumped directly in front of the gate, preventing all access. Therefore, wasn't a plausible option. Right, so I've lived in Moseley for 18 years, I think, and I also sought consultation this afternoon among some of our older people. There's never been a gate, ever. So either we have lies, which I suspect, but I'm not going to say that because I am trying to be a gentleman, trying to adhere to the rules. I think they're somewhat confused. This is why I think we should be taking matters further. Either somebody's just making this rubbish up, or they're not looking into our complaints. I mean, this thing about the CCTV, absolute garbage. No antisocial behaviour. Why? Because there's a CCTV camera there, so they take it down. I can't believe it. Anyway, so if on that one, I'd say clarification from the council about when the gate was put up. And I think it's just wasting time. We need a gate putting up, or we need a camera putting up, or we at least need the truth. Thank you. So, grit bins. So this is in your neck of the woods, Councillor Coulson. I was standing doing a job over at opposite this new, is it the Brumhill estate? The Gen 2 one with the 2 steep banks? Stood laughing at the cars rolling back down the bank. No grit bins, no council. However, they did have the council in a van following them, chucking grit, following the bin wagons. So the bin wagon, if you're driving a bin wagon, the council say they're going to keep the road clear for you. But if you're driving a car, you're trying to get out of work, off an estate like that, up Moseley Bank, we're not going to bother. We'll do the main roads, but we're not going to do the estates. And we're not even going to put any grit bins out. So could I kind of request grit bins to be put on a map? Or people can put in a request for the grit bins and we need them for next year. Grit bins, Town Clerk. And finally, I'm sorry to keep you all up tonight. And finally, in a couple of the meetings, I've mentioned this robbery that took place up at the stables, where the boatyard is and where the fly tipping is.
The robbery was at the stables?
We've got somebody on.
That's
not on mute.
Comms. Oh no, it's Lindsay. It's Lindsay.
Sorry, I had to rejoin. Sorry.
Right, sorry.
So this robbery that took place up at Moseley, very quickly, the facts are that we got photo evidence of them in committing the robbery. I got video evidence of them leaving the house to commit the robbery. I got video evidence of them returning back to the house with their ill-gotten gains. I got names, addresses, got the police to the house, give them all the information. In November of last year, the people who made the complaint, who had the crime number, after many phone calls, were told, and this is a direct quote from them, that the CPS didn't think it was in the public interest. So I asked them if they wanted me to pursue it. So with the town clerk, I've asked the town clerk to write Northumbria Police. We've pursued it. And the long and short of it is, even though a member of one of the perpetrators' families went down and asked for the stuff back and actually showed this person the video of committing the crime and bringing the stuff back, the gear had already gone. It had been sold. So we got the police involved. Even though they knew, the police knew, what do you think happened? Nothing. They didn't even get called in for an interview. They actually were arrested for something else on the Saturday, and everybody thought they'd been arrested for that. And it wasn't. They've never even been interviewed. And there's been some sort of catastrophic failure in the investigation of it. So, committed a crime. Then we were told not me personally, but the people who the crime was committed on, they were told that the CBS don't think it's in the public interest to continue. Further investigation has opened, has found out that they weren't even asked to go to the police station. Not only were they not asked, the video evidence wasn't in the file. The names and addresses that were presented weren't even in the file. The guy I was talking to at the police station said, oh, all I had was a picture. So I circulated round everybody in the area for intelligence, and nobody knew who these people were. They didn't know who they were because they're prolific robbers. So calm down a bit. So what I would like to do is, I'm in the official complaint mode tonight. I want to work on an official complaint, not for an individual police officer. No, because I think it's a lot deeper than this. We have a system failure at Northumbria Police. We know that because you've seen Operation Avalanche. Let's chuck a load of money at it. When the money disappears, we'll disappear. The policing in this area isn't working. But this robbery, this lack of investigation, the whole thing is, to me, this is why our communities are getting more and more dangerous. And I believe we need to go to the highest level to make a complaint about this. And anybody who would help me with this complaint, I would like council's agreement to move forward with, take a vote on, are we going to make an official complaint to Northumbria Police, not about the individual police officers, but about the organisation. It isn't working for us. They're not working for us. We never, when we say the police, they're only ever called if there's a problem. You know, I would love to see somebody on the beat. They say we haven't got the resources. Exactly the same as Sunderland Council. Have you got nobody that can think out of a box? Keep a nursery open by looking at different alternatives. Find another way. Find a way to solve crime. So I'm off my box now. I suppose the motion, or what I want to put before councillors tonight is, can we take a vote and possibly move forward with constructing an official complaint about Northumbria Police, the organisation. It's not about the individuals, because I don't think the individuals are getting the resources. But I do want to know why the video footage is gone. The names and addresses have gone out the file. They weren't interviewed. The people who complained were told something different. It wasn't in the public interest. Is it just, am I just like anti-establishment, or is there something going on with Sunderland Council, Northumbria Police, and just say, right, we're not going to bother with Hetton. We're not going to bother with Hetton. I know it's not just Hetton, it's Houghton as well. I talk to people all around Sunderland. They're trying to close school, build houses on green spaces. The crime's getting worse, and we having to pay more council tax year in, year out. Where's the sense and the logic?
Madam Mayor, can I move progress? It's time's getting on here. We've been here nearly 3 hours, and we've got somebody ratting on there about the police. Put your own complaint in, councillor.
I have, Councillor, but if you could keep awake and actually listen to what's going on in the community, then we might be able to move somewhere.
Okay, come on, right, let's move on.
Good man.
Let's move on, come on. Councillor Geddes.
Can I just say, we've just had a new sergeant appointed. Could we just ask a higher ranking officer to come? And obviously, Councillor Michael Hopper, you know, your comments and everything are welcome. I don't want to isolate Hetton from its new sergeant and give him a chance, but I think you've raised some pertinent questions, and I think that should be answered by somebody higher than PC Sergeant Hudspeth or even Nick Jorgen, you know. So we've had it before. We've asked these people to come out before, and I think what you've said is very, very relevant, very relevant. But I don't want to tar the whole lot with one brush.
Right, Councillor Waterston, and then will any other member that has any views, members issues, sorry.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to go back to the police. Could someone confirm? I know we've had discussions about chasing motorbikes and how Northumbria Police won't do it. Can I ask? Has anybody brought up about this? The Durham Police are using a DNA recognition system. Has anyone heard of that?
It was brought out last week by PC Hudspeth, Susan, Councillor Watt.
Right, I really think that's really an interesting avenue to go down. If we could get anyone here from the police, that it seems quite an interesting issue, that using DNA recognition. If they can't chase them, they could maybe use that. I just thought it was an interesting point to bring up, as they always say they won't chase them. Can I just bring this back now to something pretty domestic, and it's the dustbins. I know everybody's heard about these dustbins that have been. Can you just give me 2 seconds? I'm awfully sorry. 2 seconds.
Councillor Elvin, do you want to go while Miss Councillor Watson's gone a minute?
Sorry, I'm back.
Oh, you're back. You're back.
Yeah, there was just a bit of a noise in there at the time.
All right.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it's dustbins. It's all rubbish really, but it's about dustbins. We have 3. We have a brown, a blue and a green. About 3 weeks ago, I had a lady contacted me because we'd had a spate of dustbins being lifted, taken away, burnt out, and she wanted to know if she had to pay for all 3 dustbins. We wrangled on for over 2 weeks. The clerk was involved as well. We wrangled on with Sunderland City Council about this issue. The lady had police numbers, crime numbers, incident numbers, and we couldn't get, am I right, Clark? We couldn't get a definitive answer as to whether the lady was going to have to pay for our bins or not. I'd been told that someone at Airedale Gardens had received all 3 bins free of charge. And I mentioned this in an email to Sunderland City Council, that they'd obviously set a precedent by giving the 3 bins, delivering 3 bins free of charge. They wouldn't do this for this lady. And I went on to them, I spoke to them, and they were determined that they were going to charge £75 for the 3 bins. The clerk contacted them and they said that it's £25 for the delivery. You're not actually paying for your bin, you're paying for the delivery of the bin. All 3 bins were going to be brought out in one delivery, and yet they were still going to charge the lady £75. I couldn't understand that. I would like to thank the clerk because he was tenacious in his actions in contacting Sunderland City Council, and I continued to contact them, and we did eventually get them back down to charging only £25, one delivery for the 3 bins. That's just a little bit of information for you, and we managed to save a lady £50, which I think she was quite pleased about. That's all. That's rubbish.
Councillor Elvin? Where's he going, Councillor Elvin?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 2 things. I mean, first of all, before I make my contribution on ward matters, did Councillor Hopper make a proposition? If so, did anybody second it? Was there a definite proposition there or not?
I did, yes.
Would you enlighten us to what the proposition was?
It was that Councillor Aaron, you can come in a second.
We had
it was that we collectively we make a complaint and find out exactly what's going on in Hetton. I would possibly like you and the clerk to help me work out. I mean, we can go down the basic route of this one thing, but it's not about one individual. It's about the organisation not doing what we want to do. So what Councillor Hearn, no, sorry, it wasn't Councillor Hearn, was it said about tarring the brush? Dave Geddes, Councillor Geddes. It's not about tarring anybody with a brush. It's about the organisation, the system failures. Why should we pay for it? Well, we are paying for it and we're not getting the service, the same as Sunderland City Council.
If you're going to make a claim, wouldn't it be better to make it to the PCC to begin with? She's in theory in charge.
Good luck with that. Good luck with it.
Yeah, let's make the complaint there. I mean, I was looking at the Independent Complaints Authority because they refer it straight back to Northumbria Police. So that's, you know, but it just gets it on the record and then we can get things moving. So
I think the town clerk was coming. I think we need an absolute
Councillor
definite
Elvin?
proposing on the wording, don't we? Clark, sorry.
If I can just comment, and I'm at the wishes of council here, but the Police and Crime Commissioner doesn't have operational responsibility for Northumbria Police. And as Councillor Hopper mentioned, there's the body, the Independent Police Complaints Commissioner, something along those lines. But they will refer it back for investigation to the relevant police force. If you want to make a complaint, my suggestion would be that it's initially to the Chief Constable. And if you want to copy it to the Police and Crime Commissioner, that's fine. But I think you'll find if you send it to the PCC, because she doesn't have the operational responsibility, it would be outside of her remit. So that's just a suggestion, but I'm in the hands of council. I'll write to anybody you'd like me to.
I think it's the Independent Office for Police Conduct.
That's it, yeah, that's the one.
But I'm not sure whether that's
agree with the
specific
clerk.
to police. Sorry?
Can I just come into Michael? Michael, I'm not against what you said by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just mindful that we've got a new sergeant and want to give him an opportunity. But, you know, I totally agree with what you said.
I understand, Councillor Geddes, but all I'm saying is that, do you know what it is? I think I've made enough friends in this life now with people who are going to help me, and these people aren't.
Yeah, that's fine.
Councillor Elvin?
Can I suggest, Councillor Hopper, that you formulated the definitive wording and then, excuse me, bring it back to council for us to either second that motion and then put it forward. I think we need a definitive wording which you might like to work out with the town clerk in the interim and bring it to the next meeting to send that wording or for us to vote on whether the council wants us to send that wording off.
Thank
you.
you.
Do it very often, but I agree with you, Councillor Elvin. That's the way to go around it.
Thank you, Councillor Heron. I'll put you back on my Christmas card list. Back
off this year, didn't you?
Back to ward matters.
Yes, I will. Run out of money, Councillor. You know, it's hard times under COVID. Yes, Madam Mayor, just to say a bit of good news to report. The hassle we gave the highways about the interactive speed cameras. My impression is that they're all working very well, particularly the one on as you come down from Merton. I just love the way it flashes well in advance, and the majority of motorists are slowing right down and taking heed of it. You'll never ever obviously stop the nutters, but it's certainly, to me, it's helping, and I hope the rest of the councillors and the community feel that they are assisting with the speeding that we had. So on a positive note, I think they're doing a good job. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Any other one from ward matters, or is that it?
No, ward matters.
Sorry?
Ward matters, I've got one, thank you.
I thought you'd been on before, Councillor Geddes, but sorry, right, okay.
Phone. My wife's got it. Just a quick one from where I live up Easington Lane. And I know a couple of people on Hetton, particularly Edward Box, has got the same problem down Hetton. But it's like the dog walking capital of England along the new Taylor Wimpey estate. So can I ask Mr. Cady if you could ask Sunderland City Council if we could have some dog dirt bins put up here, please? Because I mean, I've took photographs, but I don't want to make people sick, you know, by looking at sausages on the ground. It's absolutely disgusting.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you the details. Kingfisher Drive, Goldfinch, and whatever. I'll speak to you about that, Graham.
Thank you.
Okay, is that it from all the ward matters? Looks like it, yes. Okay, we move on. Item 7.
Sorry, I was on mute there. Yeah, Sunderland City Councillors for Hetton and Cocktail Awards. I don't think we have anyone present. We just want to move on to item 8. Item 8?
Yes.
No, I would like to thank them. I would like to thank them. Again, they've been invited. Again, it's a no-show. Do you know what it is? Can we get a couple of like footballs made up with pictures on or something? Just so we don't forget what they look like. Thank you.
Item 8.
I'm sorry, Town Clerk.
Okay, item 8, Town Clerk update. Couple of things to report. You'll have gathered from this evening's agenda that we don't have the Police and Crime Commissioner for Northumbria with us tonight. And I've also learned that she won't be able to attend the March meeting either. Having said that, I have emailed members and I am in dialogue with one of our senior managers to try and find some calendar availability. Obviously, it would have been ideal for the PCC to attend a routine monthly meeting, give her a slot. That's not going to happen, certainly for March either. But let's see, they're trying to find some calendar availability, and it may be that we have a special meeting, an extraordinary meeting with the PCC for Northumbria as the single item agenda. I'll keep you posted, but I can assure you that I am working with her office to find the availability. You'll also be aware that we don't have the attendance of Robert Jenrick MP tonight either, and I haven't heard back from his office at all about availability for future meetings. I can keep pressing their office to try and get them along. My other thought was, I mean, Robert Jenrick MP is the guy we often see on the television, and I do suspect he has a particularly heavy workload at the moment. But my other suggestion might be that we try the next tier down and get the Minister of State for local government rather than the Minister with the wider brief. We'll give that a whirl.
Yeah, either that.
People,
Yeah, agreed. I think it's a very good suggestion.
Either that, or try and get Oliver Cromwell. He's got a habit of sorting these out.
Right, if you just bear in mind that this was in the context of seeking the government's view on the role of town and parish councils in the community.
Good thing, Town Clerk.
Is that a runner? Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Again, you've proved you're the one.
Right. Couple of other things to mention. I reported at the January meeting that we'd had a damaged bench seat outside the Hetton Centre after a courier or a delivery wagon had gone into it. There's not a lot of progress to report, I'm afraid. I initially contacted the delivery company, and to start with, they weren't au fait with any incident. Having said that, it's now, I've been speaking to the delivery company's insurers. There are a range of costs associated with this, and I'm still waiting for one costing about the installation costs and the anchoring into the ground. I hadn't realised that the seat was actually anchored into the block paving outside the Hetton Centre. So I'm waiting for a quotation from Sunderland City Council Building Services on that. The other potential spanner in the works is that it's transpired that although that seat has been outside the Hetton Centre for some years, we don't actually have a licence from Sunderland City Council for it to be there. It's another hurdle. I don't expect it to be too difficult. It's just a formality, but it's something else that needs to be done. I'll keep members posted about the bench seat, which is now an issue which has been running for 5 weeks.
I thought everything was run really smoothly before. Never mind.
And then the next thing, you will see the financial report, which I think is the next item, includes the agenda.
Excuse me,
the invoices from Balfour Beatty for
Excuse me,
the lighting on the 3 Christmas trees.
Hang on a minute, Councillor Clark. I think Councillor Hop is saying something.
Excuse me, just very quick. I don't know whether I'm allowed to comment in these updates, am I?
The chairman.
All right, can I?
Yeah, go on for the minute.
What's his chair for? This bench seat, is it actually getting used?
Yes,
I'm all for cutting costs now. If we've got no insurance for it, and we're going to have to pay insurance, and we're going to have to pay Sunderland Council, you know, like the nursery with a rate, fancy charging the nursery rates.
Okay.
Anyway, you see my point.
I'll give you my perspective on it. It's not my intention that Hetton Town Council pays for it. It's not a matter that should be covered by our insurance, but rather the third party company's insurance who caused the damage. So it's they who I'll be in dialogue with. And in terms of cost, it's a cost for a replacement seat, which the supply have said is totally damaged beyond repair. It's a cost for the uplift and disposal of the existing one. It's a cost for the installation of a new one. And I'm also going to bill them for my time as well. So there you go.
Love it. Love it. Well done, Town Clerk. Well done.
That's fine.
Put some holiday money in.
Okay.
Well,
Right.
will I not have any success remains to be seen, but I'll give it my best shot.
Okay. Back down to Town Clerk. Right, yeah.
Where was I? Oh, I was at a Christmas tree, wasn't I?
Christmas tree.
Yes, you'll see from the financial report that the invoices from Balfour Beatty are included this month. And when I alluded to them last month, it was suggested that I make representations. I think it was actually from the December meeting, Balfour Beatty, to say that we wanted an appropriate adjustment downwards to the cost for the poor quality of lights. Great. So I've been in dialogue with Balfour Beatty over the last few days. And last week I was able to establish, lo and behold, that Balfour Beatty don't own the lights on any of the trees. We do, as Hetton Town Council. I'm currently in liaison with Balfour Beatty and going through their historic records. But I certainly have found documentary evidence that the Hetton Town Council has paid for the lights on the trees at East Rayton and at Moseley in 2012, and they are our responsibility to maintain. The Hetton Town Council, sorry, the Hetton tree is slightly problematical because I think that predates 2012, which is a period when Balfour Beatty's systems changed. But they're working on it to try and find me a hard copy of the quotation and invoice for that one as well. So Balfour Beatty's charge to the Town Council is quite simply for the dressing and undressing of the tree at each location. But we own them. Of course, the problem with that is that if there have been any problems with the lights in Christmas 2020, which there have been, we're going to have the same problem in 2021 unless we do something about it. And I'm not quite sure. And what I propose to do is come back potentially to Management and Policy Committee or full council with just a paper outlining the actual situation here about who owns what. But certainly Balfour Beatty don't own them. We own the we own the East Rayton and Moseley lights for definite because I've seen the invoices which were paid for them. It was just to bring members up to date. So you'll see the invoice on the next item, but we're going to have to cough up, I'm afraid.
Watson then Councillor Elvin, quickly. Yeah.
Could I just ask, could Councillor Heron throw any light on this? Because I know Councillor Heron had a lot to do
Not yet.
the oh, he's gone.
The phantom has gone.
Councillor Heron has gone. All right. It was just I was going to ask Councillor Heron. Obviously, the last time we had any television coverage on the Christmas trees was when Councillor Heron was outside of the Hetton swimming baths. And yes, it was the lamp and worm occasion. And I wondered if he might have been able to throw any light on the lights, you know, because of that issue at that time.
The other fact I've been able to establish is that you referenced, I think, the tree outside the swimming baths. Balfour Beatty, you've also told me that the original lights are still on there. They're still on. They haven't been taken down because the Town Council wouldn't pay for it.
But they couldn't reach it.
So I'm not quite sure where we'll go with that one.
So who owns those lights then? So we've got two sets of lights for Hetton now.
The lamp and warm.
Leave it with me. I'm trying to flush it out, Councillor Defty. Trying to flush it out. I'll come back when I've got a clearer picture. And you wonder what I do all day.
Oh, we go. I've got to smile more.
Did Councillor Elvin want to come in?
I try and do it first thing in the morning, get it over with.
Councillor Elvin?
So that's something else you've got to put on the council's asset register.
Indeed.
Another asset we didn't know we owned.
Absolutely.
Interesting. And also we obviously then need to look into that. Presumably kept their Balfour Beatty store them for us from year to year, which is jolly good of them, I guess. But I think obviously management policy need to have a good look at the whole of this Christmas tree fiasco situation.
Just in
in
terms-
readiness for next year. Thank you,
Like I
Madam
said,
Mayor.
but just in terms of the storage, I believe that the items are kept in storage at the Sunderland City Council unit somewhere. Unfortunately, the Sunderland City Council officer who could give me a definitive answer on that is on holiday at the moment. He's back next week.
Get this quickly and then we'll move on.
Can I just jump this one in, Graham? Because at Christmas we looked at the existing lights that were in the mini park or the memorial park, whatever you want to call it. And I asked a question there, and I think Councillor Elvin did as well, as to, you know, they've just been left to go to wreck and ruin. Why weren't they kept up, and who's responsible for them? And is it the fact that Sunderland City Council should be looking at them and renewing them? I think that was what we discussed, Councillor Elvin, I think, and Councillor Watson.
Yeah, I think they are scheduled for renewal as part of an update programme. Now,
I'm not
I'll
talking
get more
about the
details
lights.
about that.
I'm not talking about the street lights, Mr. Cady. I'm talking about the bulbs in the trees, the original dressings of the tree with Christmas lights.
Yeah, I'll have to re-familiarise myself with the email trail, but we did get some answers on that. But for the life of me tonight, I can't remember.
I think quickly,
put it
Madam
on
Mayor, I think they did write back and say there were hours, and it was not their responsibility. I think that we did get that email from them, but obviously the town clerk will double check that.
Can I just say, in response to that, I find that incredible because Hetton Town Council don't own the trees. You know, I think that's a get-out clause.
I'll come back to you on it all.
Yeah, right.
My
Continue,
challenge for the next few weeks. Okay. Yes, there's just one other item I want to flag up under my report, and this is my own fault. For the January financial report, I needed to phone Barclays Bank, and for reasons only best known to myself, I used my house phone, and I've had a bill for £52 for it. So, which is a bit puzzling because I'm on an all-inclusive package which includes 0345 numbers. But I'm on the case. As I say, I should have used the town council mobile, but I've just picked the house phone up and phoned them for reasons best known to me in a moment of madness. But £52.
That's how you learn, Mr. Cady. That's how
Pardon?
you learn.
Yeah, indeed. I'm going to show you. I'm challenging my telephone provider on this matter.
Well done.
You're going to keep us abreast of the situation.
Yes,
I will. Depends if there's any if there's any humour potential in it. I'll let you know. Great stuff.
Do I look like a man that likes humour? Thank you.
Okay, I think that was my report. If there's any other queries on it, I'll be happy to try and address them.
Absolutely fine.
Fine. I propose we accept that.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, the only other thing was obviously I've circulated today the information I've had from Sunderland City Council, and members have already alluded to that under the members' issues agenda item. So, next item is the financial report. I'll just pull that up on the screen. Oh, that's not what I want. There you go. The first thing to highlight is that we have had a credit to the account from HMRC for the VAT refund for 1920, so it's £3,500 there. Don't think there's anything else specifically. I've already spoken about the Balfour BT invoices. One thing I'd just like to clarify, two things I'd like to clarify. I've put a note on there about the community grant award, which we made in December to the Hetton Colliery Railway 200 group. It was just so that this is captured in a financial report so that the internal auditor can see that this money got out. The money's already away. The check was cashed fairly quickly. but that's included here just so that there's documentary reference to it. And the next thing I want to highlight is the Town Mayor Fund. There's now no money in it, and there's been 2 lots of expenditure of £643.10 each to the Great North Air Ambulance and the Children's Air Ambulance. Just so members are clear and to differentiate this from the next agenda item, these payments refer to the Mayor's charities for the previous financial year 1920, not 2021, which the Town Mayor's Fund item 10 refers to. So I just wanted to clarify that. What happened here was towards the end of the 1920 financial year was just when COVID was hitting, and I did try, must have been June, July time, to contact both of these organisations to get the money to them, but they were having, well, I just couldn't make contact, as simple as that, during the first lockdown. And then when I made contact with them in the autumn, there was a suggestion that we'd try and have some sort of online presentation in the council meeting, but the agenda simply proved too heavy to incorporate that. So the payments have now been made earlier this month. So there's your financial report. Do members have any queries on that at all?
No. None.
Okay, can I ask, is that approved?
Approved.
Any dissent? No, and thank you very much. Item 10, which I've just mentioned. This is supposed to be much simpler than this. There we go. This report, as I say, refers to 2021. That is the financial year we're currently in. Councillor Pearson previously made me aware of chosen charities for this year, Royal British Legion and First Appleton Scouts. I've made the point in this report that as the municipal year is drawing to a close, I think there's little likelihood of any fundraising events to support those 2 charities. And I know that Councillor Pearson is keen to make sure that the money available in her fund does go to those 2 organisations. What I'd just like to point out is that the Royal British Legion obviously is a national organisation, and we are aware that in November time, when it was Remembrance Day, they were severely hit by the lack of street collections and donations, and that's certainly one of the reasons. I've spoken to the Royal British Legion because my view, and I think shared by Councillor Pearson, is that any money really needs to be spent locally. Whilst there may be other areas of need elsewhere in the country, you know, it's Hetton Town Mayor who wants to make this funding available. So what the Royal British Legion have told me is that if we stipulate in any correspondence with them, it would like it spent on welfare services locally to this area, they will ring fence it for those purposes. We'll have to make it clear that it needs to be spent either in Hetton Hall specifically or DH4. There doesn't appear to be a branch of the Royal British Legion specifically for Hetton when I've looked on their website. I think there's one in Washington and one in Sunderland, but we can stipulate where we want the money to go to and for the provision of welfare services. Okay, are there any queries on that at all? Can Council agree just to proceed with the Town Mayor's wishes on this aspect? And the other aspect to this is that I would suggest that payments are made first week in March. That's just to aid end of year financial arrangements.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to propose that that happens, but that's adopted.
Okay, any dissent? Okay, approved. Thank you very much. I'll make the necessary arrangements. Item 11. This is a quotation we had from Balfour Beatty, and this was following a suggestion that the war memorial in the mini park should be illuminated, but it does require some adjustment to the spotlight that's there.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to propose that for the modest sum involved that we do that. I think it'll enhance the mini park. It'll enhance security within the mini park. and it will also fall in line with flag protocol, which nobody sticks to these days, but the flag protocol always used to say that if the Union flag flies after dusk, it should be illuminated. I say not that a lot of people go on that, but it would kill 3 birds with 1 stone. So I'd like to propose that we have that done as soon as possible. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Yeah.
Just 2 points of detail. The quotation that you have in front of you actually has a date on it of December, but he did confirm this week that the quote remained valid. And the other thing to point out is that it refers to a timer clock, which worried me because that would mean it would require regular changing and checking up upon. When I spoke to Barbara about it, there will be some sort of dusk to dawn sensor rather than a mechanical timer or electrical timer.
Okay.
Okay. Are we okay to go ahead with that?
Yes, agreed.
Any dissent? Approved. Thank you. Yeah, item 12. Members will have had this paper distributed earlier today. Now, it was sent to our IT company this afternoon. I don't know if it's actually on the site or not. Yes, it is now. It wasn't earlier, but it is there now. But that hasn't worked, has it?
Opening.
Something's happening.
It's opening.
Slightly different approach this time, technologically. Give it a moment.
It's got open file.
Is it going to work? There you go. Yeah, as I say, members will have had this this afternoon. I do apologise for the delay with it. As you recall, Finance Committee made a budget allocation for a replacement computer, which was then ratified by the extraordinary meeting held on the 25th. I said I would just put a short paper together outlining some of the issues that I was facing at the moment. Hopefully this does it for members. Feel free to ask me questions as long as I'm not too technical.
See anything, Councillor, Town Clerk?
Go ahead.
Blank screen.
What's sorry?
It's a blank screen on my screen.
All right, I've got a document in front of me. I'm scrolling through. Can anybody else see it?
No.
No, I've got a document in front of me. Hold on.
But I have got the hard copy, and I propose we go ahead with it.
Yeah,
Right,
I've
I
got
don't know what's
the
happened there.
hard copy.
It's really just for noting in any queries.
No, I'd second that proposal. Obviously, this confirms how out of date and behind the curve we are when it comes to IT, and that how necessary it is to get it updated ASAP. And as the budget has already been provided for it, I suggest the town clerk. I concur with Councillor Rome. I second that we just gets on with it ASAP.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah. What's the next item? Where are we? Yeah. Former Hetton Lions Boys Club. Right, this is just a verbal report from me. I mentioned at the January meeting that I'd made contact with an organisation called UK Youth, who'd taken over who had absorbed the charity known as Ambition, and that I was expecting an update for this month's meeting. Now, the gentleman I spoke to and had email exchanges with knew we needed this for this evening. And of course, he responded last Tuesday, which was the day I was having the horrific IT problems, and the email went down. So I didn't actually receive his email until about 7 o'clock at night. And I did reply to him straight away saying I need some more information. But of course, I got an out of office response to say he was away for a week. So I'm afraid I'm going to read this email out to you. It doesn't mean a lot to me, mind, but I have asked for some more detail, and hopefully I'll get that in time for the next meeting. But I'm just going to read this. I'm pleased to let you know that I have spoken to the surveyor who is progressing things well, including speaking to other relevant stakeholders, including David Bowes Lyons and potential developers on the site. There is a slight sticking point at the moment with some discrepancies in the land registry records, but once this is ironed out, we should be able to move forward swiftly. Very interesting. It means absolutely nothing to me. That's why I've asked for more detailed information. But that's the only update I've had to date, I'm afraid. As soon as I get some more detail about what this proposal actually looks like, I shall share it with members.
If I just one sec, Graham, surely if it's to do with the boys club, Councillor Heron would be updated in all this, because he's the trustee.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
I know he's not here. I know he's not here. It's convenient, isn't it?
I don't know. My understanding is
he's a trustee. He's the only trustee.
Right. I don't know. I mean, I'm acting on behalf of Hetton Town Council here, and our interest in the site. That's the only update I have for you. But more to follow. More to follow. Councillor Pearson, Councillor Rome is trying to speak.
All right, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Could I just say, for those people who don't know, that the fear has always been that the boys club sites will be sold off for housing. That response suggests that they are pressing ahead with trying to do that. However, I'd like to point out that on the next item, item 14, the Sunderland City on the item 15, the draft response to the consultation, allocations and designations plan, the land that belongs to the boys club is actually designated in that as not yet deliverable, which is slightly different from what it was designated before in the old UDP. And what that means is that any application for housing on any of that land would have to be submitted and determined by Sunderland City Council on a case-by-case basis. And when we come to looking at this draft response on the allocations and designation plan, we have put in there that the town council considers them that they should be looked at as exceptions and be protected from future housing. So I'd just like to point that out. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, Town Clerk.
Yeah, I have nothing further to add on that other than I'll give Council an update as soon as something becomes available. I think it's likely to be the March meeting now.
Okay.
Item 14, Sunderland City Council's digital strategy. I'll not pull this up on screen, it's 8 pages long. I have been in dialogue with the Customer Service Development Manager at the City Council, and this is on the back of our concerns about inconsistent feedback to issues that were being raised by members predominantly on an individual basis and by myself in response to members of the public queries. Now, the document that I've circulated ties in with the City Council's customer service strategy. I had rather hoped that there'd be an officer from Sunderland to speak to this report tonight. And I have been trying to contact them since, well, probably around about a week ago now, but I haven't been successful in making contact. So what I would suggest, subject to members' agreement, is that you just note that report for the time being. I'm not in a position to comment on any detailed aspects of it other than it complements the customer service strategy, and hopefully it will improve the flow of information between the town council and the city council in relation to issues of concern, whether they're neighbourhood issues or policy issues or anything else. So I'd just like to suggest that we either note it or defer it until such time as an officer can actually come along and speak to us about it. I put it on the agenda last week thinking that
I was
somebody present.
Sorry.
Councillor Elvin was coming in, and then yourself, Councillor Hop, after Councillor
Yeah, I was
Elvin.
before him.
No, you weren't.
I thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd very much like somebody to come and talk to us, because I've read this document in detail and it bothers me somewhat. How they're going to sort of propose to amalgamate everything, and how private information will effectively be kept private, and the whole of it, this digital strategy, the privacy aspect of it concerns me greatly. So yeah, yeah, big brother.
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Hop.
I think I can take some of your fears away, Councillor Elvin. It's only a strategy, therefore it's not really a plan. It's a guide that we can manipulate it, we can do whatever, we can change it at a moment's notice. Nobody really takes any notice of it. So I think we'll be all right. But you do right to answer to ask the questions. I mean, I wonder if it costs £600,000, like the core strategy. Apparently, it's only a guide; it's not a plan. Sorry.
Sorry if I could come back. That's a problem with the Sunderland City Council. They say it's only a guide, we're only looking at it, but invariably ends up happening.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Councillor Pearson, Councillor Waterson wishes to speak.
All right, sorry. Councillor Waterson.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. I'm sorry to go back to an issue, and I don't want to waste any time tonight. We've gone on quite a long time here. Could somebody just clarify to me the boundaries or the curtilage of the Boys Club land, please, quickly? Anybody?
There are two aspects.
Mayor, there are.
Oh, go on, Councillor Rome, go on.
Well, there are two sites in question. You've got the what was called the old football field, which is the bottom of the cricket club, which goes on to Colliery Lane.
Councillor Runt, does that at all go near Darwin Street?
No.
No.
That's fine.
And then you've got the other site, which is where the building was and the playing field and the
tennis courts.
Tennis courts were. There are two separate sites for the boys' club, but a lot of the land behind that football field that goes across that wooded area, all the way across to Derwin Street, that's Bowes Lyons land. So the whole lot,
right?
People are looking at in very great detail. They want to build as much as possible as they can on there.
Yeah, it was just something came to mind that I'd been stopped last summer over the country park and asked about it. And when you got on about the Boys Club land, I remembered this lady had inquired and said, did I know if there was any building going ahead, because there'd been people out doing measurements and taking, when it was behind Down Street where the allotment, I think there's an allotment around there somewhere.
Yeah, but the point is, what's happened in the old UDP and in the core strategy, they had land designated for housing. But with this new draft allocations designation plan, they've altered the name for that. And as I said earlier, they've called it land not yet deliverable, which actually it makes you think, oh great, they're not going to build on that. But I'm afraid it's a little bit of a red herring, shall we call it?
As I would say, I think obviously Councillor Hurren stated in a Hetton Town Council meeting, when something's going to happen with the Boys Club land, that people of Hetton will be the first to know.
Yeah,
that was 15 years ago.
Can I just come in on that, because there's something I want to say that's very important. Can you all recall when Alan came to talk to Hetton Council from
Ambition?
Ambition, yeah.
Ambition.
That's Ambition. Well,
that man who had all the passion for Hetton.
That's right.
Yeah.
But the main point I want to flag up here is one thing that he said: the money is not guaranteed to come back into Hetton. Can you remember that?
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
That needs to be really looked at, because It's Hetton land, and I don't want any money that's if and when it's done to go down to London or anywhere else. If it's from Hetton Boys Club, it should remain in Hetton Boys
No,
Club.
but the point is that land was for the youth of Hetton. I used to go to the boys' club dances. You know, that field should be, we haven't got anywhere for a Hetton football club to play, because they can't play Hetton Town Trust, because, oh no, we can't let anybody else have that land. We've got to keep that for the Sunderland ladies. And yet we've got the Ambition, or whoever they're called, won't even lend that land to Hetton Lions Cricket Club so they can put the football team on there. It's outrageous, the whole thing. It should not go to housing. It should not be sold. We need to have a football team playing on there, and we need to have some services for the young people to go to. End of.
Yeah, fine. Okay, Town Clerk, back to you.
Sorry, we went from the Sunderland
Yes.
digital strategy back to Boys
Back
Club
to
there.
this, yes.
So
Yeah, sorry, that was me.
I'm playing catch up now. So in terms of the Sunderland digital strategy, I think it's the case this evening, subject to members' agreement, of just noting it and asking an officer to come along to go through it in more detail.
Yeah.
How do we feel about that?
That's fine. Yeah, agreed.
Right, jolly good, thank you. So the next item is the allocations and designations plan. This is a 2-pager.
Good work, Councillor Rome.
Wait a minute. Oh. Don't know what I've done there, sorry about that. Yeah. There we go. If I can just explain something on this one, this has been sent in draft format already to the City Council because they had a deadline of last Friday. Now, what happened with this consultation is that it was sent on Friday the 18th of December when I wasn't at work. And on the Monday morning, it was the 21st, that was the day of the Town Council meeting. It was one of over 30 emails in my inbox, and I took one look at it, thought, and the only geographical reference on the subject heading was to Washington and Sunderland Riverside. So I'm afraid it very quickly passed me by. And as a result of Councillor Rome's vigilance, she picked up on it and the importance of the document. So as I say, this has been sent in draft format to the City Council already on Friday to meet their deadline, but they will be happy to take any suggested changes following this evening's meeting. So this is a 2-pager. Again, members will have had this, so hopefully they've had the opportunity to have a look at it. Councillor Rome, I don't know if you just want to provide a quick overview.
Yes, I can do that. I would just like to say that the fact that they issued this, you know, just before Christmas is another, it's underhand. They want this through. They don't want any objections to it. And the thing that, apart from the housing, I was absolutely shocked to see that they were allocating different bits of land all over Sunderland and includes Hetton with more wind turbines after all we went through 10 years ago. And as far as the waste, water and energy plant, all they're looking at is wind. You know, we've got the River Wear, which is tidal. And I remember the late Colin Wakefield 10 years ago trying to get something done with providing energy from the tide there. They haven't looked at waste they really need to look at this again. But anyhow, I managed to pull up all my old files about the wind turbines and the Hetton skyline and the 2008 Arup report, which stated that the East Durham limestone wind resource area was full of wind turbines and that opportunities for development were very limited. But there's a concern that once a wind turbine gets to the end of its term, temporary term of often 25 years, if you're not careful, they can just replace it and upgrade it. And I think we've got to be very vigilant about that. And again, I discovered by looking through this massive document and referring back to the UDP and the core strategy and everything, there's some shenanigans going on. And basically, I think they want to just build it all over Hetton and Houghton, to be quite honest. They really do seem to want to do that. There was the campaign for the protection of rural England. They produced a lovely letter which was sent off to object to certain things, and it was Lindsay Gibson who alerted me to that. And I did take some of the information from their letter and reproduced it, because there's no point in reinventing the wheel. And that's why I also commented in this document on neighbouring land, which is down at Chiltern Moor, because if you look at it, where they want to build and where it's just, there's going to be no green space left unless we're really, really vigilant. So anybody's got any questions, I'm quite happy to. Oh, the other thing which I thought was very important, this many Hetton Town Councils have commented, why do we need all these homes? Who are they for? And I did a little bit of research and found out that the Office of National Statistics has projected that the 3 northern regions, they're nowhere near going to grow as much as the rest of the country. And I couldn't find anything in the document which justified the need for all this housing. And so that's gone into this draft report as well.
Thank you, Councillor Rowan. Okay. The town
Madam
clerk.
Mayor, could I just say, although Councillor Hopper's already mentioned it, I for reasons you'll probably know why, I've witnessed the number of hours that Councillor Rowan was put into compiling this report on behalf of the council, and she must be congratulated on her diligence and her fortitude to actually plough her way through reams and reams and reams of paper, produce paper such as this on our behalf. And I'm sure you've all read it. And I think we should commend her for her efforts, because it certainly goes above and beyond the call of duty, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Chairman, can I just ask, you happy for me to confirm with City Council that's our final submission? Okay, thank you. Next item, there are 3 planning applications. What's happening here?
Go on, Bonnie, lad.
Right. This one initially came in, and you'll see that the 3rd one on the list is an amended proposal. Now, I haven't had the opportunity myself to determine what the amendment actually looks like, but I've put both the original and the amended proposal on. So I don't know if there's any, you just want to move straight on to the next one and then deal with this one at the end. You know what? I think the IT people might have just put one on. Right. Unfortunately, the IT provider has only put one of the planning applications onto the website. So, as I've just outlined there, you had that original one, then an amendment, and there's also an additional one for 71 Kingfisher Drive.
Yeah.
Single story extension.
I know that one.
So do I.
Any views?
I've got no problem with it. It's already up.
I object very much so to what's happening at 71 Kingfisher Drive. because what has been done, the owner has already gone out and built an extension to the front of the property. He's taken away his parking spaces, 1.5 parking spaces, and he's parking his cars in the visitors' bays in front of his house. Now, this is setting a dreadful precedence. Why didn't he build out the back in his garden? If we let him go ahead with
sorry,
this.
Councillor Rowan, that's not correct.
Isn't it?
No, it's not
Tell
correct.
me why.
Well, number one, I know the lad, actually. He lives 3 doors off me. His drive is in use. It's just he's got building materials on there and he's retaining his drive.
It admits in the planning application that he's going to lose his parking spaces.
No, that's not true.
Well, I've got it in front of me here.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's not true. And I know him because I was in his house yesterday.
You were what?
I was in his house yesterday. Secondly, it's the extension's up and it's all being done retrospectively. And everything that the building inspector had wanted Mr. Dunwoody to do, he's actually done. And I've spoken to Sean Tyndall and Tony Jeffries about it. So the lad's actually bent over backwards, but to turn around and say that he's parking on land, there is a full section of parking for anybody's vehicles. That includes Mr. Dunwoody, and his drive is certainly going to be reinstated. And I'll tell you why, because he's got a motorbike now he's got to get in and out in his garage.
Well, if that is the case, I must have misunderstood everything that I read on the application form.
Well, I can assure you, everything I've just said is true because I was down last night talking.
Well, anybody else on the planning committee got any, or any other councillors got any comments?
Can I just come in there? If obviously the building inspectors don't pass the plans, that goes to the planning committee. The building inspectors, they'll inspect the building. They'll inspect the building and pass everything that's correct. But they just go into building regs. They do not pass the planning.
I'm quite familiar with the job. I did actually project manage a £10 million college for Sunderland College. So
I'm not. Listen, it's.
But can I make a suggestion then? Can I make a suggestion that we're concerned about the loss of parking spaces on the property, and that we're concerned that if parking spaces are lost, then we're concerned that it will set a precedence for other.
Can I just say that the parking spaces are not lost, and as you're the chair of the planners, I'll invite you up to Mr. Dunwoody to say that.
It's in the planning, David. It's in the
I'm just
application.
going through the planning application again.
Councillor Alvin wishes to
Right,
speak.
can I just say here, vehicle parking, section 9 of the application form. Does the site have any existing vehicle cycle parking spaces, or will the proposed development address remove any parking? And the answer is yes. Please provide information of the existing and proposed number of on-site parking spaces. Type of vehicle, cars. Existing number of spaces, 2. Total proposed, including spaces retained, 0. Difference in spaces, -2.
Well, can I just say this officially? He lives 3 doors off me. I've just been down. His drive is black.
It's black and white.
Well, it's wrong. It's actually incorrect. He's got a 4x4 and a motorbike.
I suggest you tell your friend to reissue his planning application.
I mean, surely I live 3 doors off him. I know.
I know you live 3 doors
away. Please, come on. Right, stop the arguing. Yeah. Right, okay.
And of course, Sunderland Council have been right all the time. My God. And you've been pedantic, Councillor Rowan, I can see it.
Well, so So
please,
That's
you
fine.
need 10 minutes away, get in your car and drive up, and I'll introduce it to Mr. Dunwoody. Come up.
It's got nothing to do with. It's got nothing.
Did you do? No. Right. Councillor Elvin, I believe you wanted to come in.
No, I don't
No?
think so. I
You're
mean,
all
you can only go on the written application for planning consent, and the written application says it's taken them away. Then obviously you would express
My
concern.
God, I mean, how we're councillors. I live 3 doors off. How many times have you actually slated Sutherland Council and now you want to believe them? Are you joking?
The whole point
Really?
is, Lewis,
Well, I'll tell you what, get in your cars and come up.
We've already seen
I've
it,
been up
David.
3 times.
Well, you'll know about the drive still there then, Councillor Elvin.
We're only going with the application. It
Did you
says
go with the application?
that they're going to get rid of them, and therefore it's just it is a matter of concern if that application is correct. If the application is incorrect, well, that's absolutely fine. But the application makes the application to remove the 2 car parking spaces, which should raise alarm bells to everybody.
Councillor Geddes, you have no authority here.
Well, I'm absolutely delighted that you find that trying to stop somebody's extension.
We're not
is
trying
silly.
to stop
Absolutely delighted. You might want to join the Labour group if you're going to act like that.
No, we just.
Oh, David, grow up.
I am grown up. I'm not the one that's giggling and laughing.
No, what can we do? When
You can look at the drive.
Sorry,
That's what
we
we can-
argue about developments where there are insufficient car parking spaces per house. Here we have somebody who is openly admitting they're losing 2 car parking spaces, and we're going to let it. So if
You can't lose 2 car parking spaces when there was only 1 originally, Councillor.
Why has he got 2 on there then?
Well, unless he was going to park on the front garden, which has actually got a wall around it now. But his tarmac drive has not been touched.
Madam Mayor, can we move on, please?
Can we? Yep. That's fine.
Well, it's not fine. We have to make a decision on what we're going to say.
Well, I would suggest that you
How
actually...
about we ask for further clarification and a site visit?
Yes, I agree.
Good. That's all I was asking for.
That's absolutely fine. I would agree with that, just for clarification.
I'm absolutely delighted with that.
Okay, can we move on to the other item, please? The Gateway, East Elmer Lane.
Chairman, sorry, you're not going to get a site visit in lockdown.
Why not?
I don't think they're doing it.
I don't do them. We're all drive. I've driven.
I'll do a
past
drive
this.
by. Do a drive by.
Actually,
There's no way you can get to.
actually, if you want an independent view, why don't you ask Kevin Bourne to speak up? Because Kevin lives round just off the lot, and he's a member of the public.
What Kevin's
We
saying is
don't want independent views from members of the public.
we go by the thing.
You don't seem to believe a councillor that lives 3 doors up him.
No,
It's the planning application, David.
I've seen the planning application's wrong.
Well, he's filled it in wrong then.
He's filled it in wrong, so you have to fill it in again.
The next planning application we're
Jesus.
going to look at, they didn't do it correctly the first time, so they are some
have to fill it in again.
amendments.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I need to know what I'm doing here.
I think, Madam Mayor, I think if we just seek clarification that effectively we're not removing the car parking spaces.
2 car parking spaces.
And then
in front
everything's
of-
fine, that's absolutely fine. And if it's been incorrectly filled in form, then it's incorrect, and that's the end of it.
Lovely.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks for clarifying. The other planning application there was Gateway North East Elmore Lane, erection of new boundary fencing. Any views?
No objections.
No objection.
No.
Now, there's one further aspect of the planning matters I need to bring to your attention, and I'm afraid it's very remiss of me, but I omitted to include on the agenda the application which came in on the 5th of February for Hetton Primary School, which was the demolition of the existing caretaker's house and erection of a new school with games area, improved site access, car parking and landscaping. So I do apologise for not including that. The comments on the Sunderland City Council notification were required by the 26th of February, which is before our next meeting on the 15th of March. There are a couple of ways to tackle this potentially, and I'll need council view. The simplest is for me to ask the City Council if they can extend the deadline until after our next monthly meeting, or the alternative is we have to have an extraordinary meeting to consider this.
Madam Mayor, may I propose we ask for an extension on this because it's a rather large document. I started to look at it today and it's quite extensive. We need to look at it and we need a bit more time, and we are statutory consultees.
Yeah. Councillor Pearson, you were speaking there. I didn't hear a word of it.
Sorry, I'm saying yes. If Councillor Rome proposes that, I would second it.
Any alternative viewpoint? Get an extension. I'll let Councillor Rome, as Chairman of Planning, know what response I get back from the City Council on that one. Thank you. The next item is general correspondence. Let's see if I can bring that up. I'll just talk you through these. Going to work. Yes, this first item here. This is from Sunderland City Council about North Road traffic calming. I've just circulated this today. It just come in, and it's highlighting an additional speed cushion. Oh, sorry, Council. The IT company have only put one document on here. There was a item 17 summary report as well, which hasn't appeared. So I'm going to have to talk you through those separately. But any comments on the this plan for additional traffic calming?
The more the merrier.
Okay with that? Right. The other items of correspondence, which I've sent it out earlier this afternoon, but I'm going to have to talk you through it because it's not on the website. This is just for noting I've had 2 bits of correspondence from the MP's office for our comments on what I would describe as neighbourhood issues. I have responded. They are outside of the town council's jurisdiction. I've also had an email from a member of the public about rats and waste, which I've referred to the City Council. Again, I would suggest that's just noted. I've also, within the last couple of days, had a freedom of information request from a member of the public, which I'll be dealing with very shortly. Again, just for you need to be aware that I've got that. The next one was from the Durham County Model Car Club, asking if we had any land available for them to develop into a facility. And I've just advised them to do that. We don't own any land, but you may want to take it up with Sunderland. So again, just for noting. Then there's quite a bit of correspondence coming from the County Durham Association of Local Councils. The first one was various issues, including a reference to what is going to be known as NHS and Frontline Workers Day to be held in July. I don't have any more information on that other than that is when it is, but it may be something that council might want to consider taking part in terms of flag flying. I'm sure they'll have a flag available for that. Is that something you'd like me to investigate further?
Yeah.
Please.
Let's get some more information on that. We also had a letter provided to us by the County Association about canvassing for elections. And I also sent that with a link to a government statement on elections. That was on the 11th of February, just for information and noting. There's something coming called Friends Against Scams, which is a free e-learning package, which we're being asked to circulate to councillors, and I will do so just to make people aware of lots of these online scams that are taking place at the moment. It's the larger councils forum this Thursday, the 18th of February, and councillors Geddes and Waterston are representatives at that meeting. They both indicated that they will be able to attend, and I've informed the County Association of that. So we may get some feedback at a future meeting. And then just come in today, and I can't remember if I've sent this out to members, but I certainly can. It's just made the correspondence list, and there is some dialogue taking place with government about the potential extension to continue with remote meetings after the 6th of May when the current legislative requirement expires. It's the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government who are leading on that. But there does seem to be some traction in having the facility extended. Now, I don't think that's necessarily COVID related. I think there is a view that the online meetings have encouraged greater public participation than physical meetings. All I would suggest is I send this to members for information, and it's a case of watch this space. But an interesting development. Certainly the legislation as it stands at the moment doesn't provide for remote meetings after the 6th of May. Watch this space. Watch this space. Well, I'll circulate that for information if that's okay. That's your correspondence. The only other item is next meeting, 15th of March, 7:15, which I think will also be a Zoom meeting. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yes, fine.
Well done.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes
great.
tonight's business.
Well done, Graham. Well done.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thanks to councillors and members of the public who've
Thank you very
been with us
much.
tonight.
Good evening, all. Good evening, all.
Bye.
I'm ending the recording now.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.